Welcome, everyone. We'll get started in just a second here. We're expecting a couple more folks to hop in. All right. So I'm Chris from Unconventional Solutions, and our speaker today is Wayne Jobling from Resimac. He's here to talk to us about waterproof coatings. Resimac is a UK-based manufacturer of epoxy and polyurethane repair materials and coatings. Resimac coatings and repair solutions are designed to protect against corrosion, erosion, abrasion, chemical attack, and UV exposure. You can contact USI Unconventional Solutions today and talk to one of our experts on what Resimac has to offer, and get a solution to repair, protect, and upgrade your critical equipment and infrastructure. Wayne, I'm excited to do a little bit of a deep dive into some of the waterproof coatings that you guys have. If you want to take it away from here.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much, Chris. Okay, so to begin with, just want to thank everybody for their time today. I don't want to take up too much of your time, so we'll run through this fairly rapidly. Just to introduce myself, give you a little bit of background. So as Chris said, I work for Resimac Ltd, a UK manufacturer of high-performance coatings. I've been in the coating industry for 20 plus years now, so worked in various sales and technical roles throughout the years. So I've got a reasonable breadth of knowledge about different products. In terms of coatings, we supply and have available, we do everything from corrosion protection to chemical protection, building maintenance, metal repair. But obviously today, with the time we have, we're just going to talk briefly about waterproofing and roof products, essentially. And even within that range, we have several different products, but we're going to focus on two main products for you, just to give you an overview of the type of products we supply and why we think they would be a good solution for you. So without further ado, I'm just going to share my screen. So hopefully you can all see my screen now. It's just going to be about 4 slides just to go through. And we're going to talk about two of our core products, which would be Resichem 550WR and Resichem 551ER. So we've picked deliberately two contrasting products just to show you the different types of systems we have available. The 550WR is a water-based membrane for sealing of external roof coatings and structures. The 551ER is an emergency repair. So letters can get a little bit confusing. The W is for water-based, the E is for emergency repair. So what we've got here is, first slide I've put together is just a little table just to show you the difference between the two products. So we've got a water-based 550WR, the solvent-based 551ER. Both products are single pack. So when it comes to using them, there's no mixing. Obviously, there's no hot works or anything like that. This isn't anything which we sell on a roll, on a sheet. So there's no welding of joints. There's no bonding down of our materials to a surface. What these products are designed to do is to work in conjunction with existing roof structures. So either a new build structure or a renovation of an existing coating or sheeting material. So while the 55WR is, I say, a single pack material and it's not supplied on a roll or applied in that way, it does require a reinforcing sheet embedded within it. So you use a glass fiber matting, a chopped strand mat is embedded into the first coat of the material, and then a second coat goes on which has no reinforcing in it. In contrast, the 551ER, the emergency repair, is what we would say is self-reinforced. So this material has glass fibers within the resin already mixed in there, so it's ready to go. You just remove the lid and apply it. Another benefit of the 551ER is that it's moisture tolerant, so it can be applied in damp conditions and through standing water to some extent, not through deep standing water, but small puddles and things. So that really, those two reasons for it make it excellent for emergency repairs. A lot of times you don't know a roof is leaking until it's full of water. You know, a gutter's leaking. Where's the leak? You know, you can see it when there's actually water on there. So the 551ER, you can go up there in adverse weather conditions during the winter, do an emergency sort of spot repair, seal the leak, and then leave it until you get better weather in the summer or, you know, later on in the season. And at that point, we can go back up on the structure and we can put a more permanent repair on there, something like the 550WR. Okay, so the 551ER may sound ideal. We can use it all year round. It's moisture tolerant. There's no reinforcing used up there on it. But the downside to it is it's a short-term solution. So the longest this type of repair would last would be 5 years. And the other thing about this product is it's relatively difficult to apply over larger areas. It doesn't brush and roll or spray out particularly well. It's more of a small patch repair. As you can see kind of from the two pictures on the right-hand side of your screen, it's good for sealing, roofing laps, joints in gutters, generally sort of blistered or degraded concrete or asphalt structures. You can get up there, do a quick repair over a small area. It's nice and easy to use. However, if you want to do a bigger solution, a longer term solution, the pictures you see more on the right, on the left hand side of your screen, you're better off with a product like the 550WR. But that one cannot be applied in bad atmospheric conditions. So we have to pick and choose which product we use for which application. So typical applications for these products broke down very basically: 550WR, flat roofs, pitched roofs, and tank-based sealing. So obviously, when we're talking about waterproofing, a tank base is very different to a roof structure, but it's a big market for us in obviously any sort of chemical storage, oil and gas, petrochemical, anywhere that have large metallic storage tanks standing on concrete plinths. There is a high degree of chance that these tanks are going to corrode from the outside in through the base of the steel. Moisture, water will track in the annular void between the steel and the concrete. It will sit underneath the tank and it will cause corrosion, and the tanks can corrode from the inside out. So what we can do with the 550WR is we can seal that annular void. So that interface between the steel and the concrete, we can put a reinforced, flexible, waterproof membrane, sort of 12 inches up the tank wall, as you can see the blue picture top right, and then another 12 inches down onto the concrete, or however best to deal with the geometry of the stand, and we can seal that gap between the two surfaces so we can prevent any moisture getting in there. So that's a little bit of a unique application for it, but very popular. We do sell a lot of material in that manner. More standard applications would be the flat roofs and the pitched roofs. Don't want to get into the technical details of what's a flat roof, what's a pitched roof. Suffice to say, we have a slightly different system depending on the type of roof. So typically a pitched roof, which would have more than a 15-degree angle on it, is designed to shed water, so it won't hold water on it. So on a pitched roof, we don't need to use the reinforcing system. We can use the 550 without the glass fiber, whereas on a flat roof, we would fully reinforce all the areas. The 551ER, pictures below, typical applications I've sort of briefly mentioned. We've got emergency leak sealing, which would be the big one for it, gutters, and also the final picture on the bottom right is roof joints. So you may have a cementitious or old-fashioned, asbestos type sheeting or metal sheeting on a roof that could be flat or pitched. Obviously the solid sheets aren't leaking, but the joints may well be, or maybe even the bolt heads where these things are bolted together. You're going to get water ingress through those gaps, through those voids. So what we can do with the 551ER is locally get up there with a paintbrush, encapsulate the joints, encapsulate the bolt heads, and just seal them from water seeping in. Okay, next slide. Again, just very sort of high level sort of overview on this. The benefits of our kind of applied membranes versus existing roofing systems or waterproofing systems. The big one is we always sell the 550 and its similar products as the fact that they are seamless. So unlike any kind of roofing material which comes on a roll or is applied, in that manner, you are always going to have joints and seams. And when a roof fails and a roof starts to leak, 9 times out of 10, a joint or a seam is the thing that's failed. The nice thing about the 550 is that we can apply it wet on wet on wet, the full system over the whole roof. We overlap the chop strand mat as we're going wet into wet. We blend it into itself, so there are no seams on there. So as over time, as the roof wears, ages under the UV light and what have you, it will wear evenly, and there's no sort of localized sort of damaged areas. It's also UV stable. So unlike sort of bituminous kind of asphalt type materials, there is no chance for this to embrittle or blister over time. So it will stay same color, it won't discolor. All that will happen is it will slowly erode. So the other benefit of this, as I say, it's not really, it's designed to work with existing roofing structures. So be it a felt roof, be it any cementitious kind of substrate, a single ply roofing membrane, bitumen, whatever you've got on there, we can work with an aged asset, an old roof which has begun to leak. We can do potentially spot repairs just to make the roof sound initially, and then we can protect it with our system, which, as I say, would be a seamless, long-term, 10 up to 20 years potentially lifespan on these kind of systems, depending on how the material is applied. The 551 ER, I've mentioned again here, is that the big benefit for that is we can apply it in the wet, which is a real boon. If you've got a leaking roof and it's wet, we can apply it. The 550 is water-based. It's a water-based acrylic. So we have reduced health and safety requirements in terms of how it's handled and how it's applied. No solvents, nothing flammable being used. There's no hot works on there, so we don't need any heat guns or any sort of welding, sort of seam welding kind of equipment. The closest thing you might need when applying these things would be something like a leaf blower. So if you're applying this onto a roof structure and there's standing water, we're going to have to rag that water off or blow it off with a leaf blower. A little bit of heat can be nice there just to dry a roof out at the same time, but it's not necessary for the actual application of the material. And the other benefit of these products is I always like to think is another benefit of them being seamless and they can be used in conjunction with each other, is that over time, as they do start to degrade and erode away, we can repair them with the same product, and that repair again is seamless, and it'll be the same color, and it will be UV stable, and it will be invisible. That repair you do 5 years time, 10 years time, it won't look like a lot of patch repairs you do on a roof where you've got a brand new piece of felt with exposed edges and things like that. It will blend into what we've already got. Okay, and that is all I have.
Thank you, Wayne. I'm going to open up everybody's mics now in case anyone has any questions for our Q&A portion.
Hey, Wayne, thank you. Good job here. I was just curious, what is the surface prep required for these? Is there a lot of surface prep or anchor profile?
Yes. So the 551 EI emergency repair, no prep at all, really, because it's an emergency repair. We just say do what you can, the best you can to scrub it clean, get rid of any sort of detritus and moss and things like that. The 550, the water-based system, does require a primer. We have a range of different primers for different substrates. Unfortunately, we can't have one universal primer. So in general terms, you will need to clean the roof. So jet wash it down, clean it. If you've got things like chippings, stones and things like that on the roof, as long as they're sound, as long as they're not coming out, we can apply over the top of it with the correct primer. If you've got like a blistered asphalt or bitumen on there, what we recommend is you locally repair those things. So start cut any blisters, bond them back down with a PU sealant or similar, and then apply the appropriate primer and top coat on top of that. So yeah, we do need to know. So whenever any jobs come up, you'd have to let us know what type of substrate is up there, and we can give you a bespoke system recommendation based on that.
Perfect. Thank you. I also one more question. what is it? What's the chemical resistance? And if it's not very good, could we put a chemical resistant overcoat on it?
Potentially, yes. Yeah. It's reasonable, but yeah, we do need to know. So we had an issue many years ago at my previous employer where we used it on like a food production factory, and they were making like chips, as you would call them, so crisps over here. And there was a lot of sort of vegetable oil and various sort of foodstuffs were sort of sitting on the roof, and it was a very sort of hot exhaust and chimney sort of thing. So there was a little bit of sort of bacterial growth on there. So certain applications, yeah, we do need to know, as well as the substrate of the roof, what the building's being used for, and then we can act accordingly. We sometimes what we need to do is add an extra layer of protection over certain areas, maybe not the whole roof, but certain sections.
Great. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Okay, no problem.
Any other questions for Wayne while we have him? All right. So I'm going to wrap up here. Thank you, everybody, for joining our Tech Talk today. You can contact USI at 248-735-7000 and talk about these Resimac solutions. Thanks, Wayne.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, with pleasure.